All right, welcome to This Explainer. Today we're unpacking a story that is literally one of the most chilling and enduring mysteries of the 20th century. We're talking about the 1959 Dyatlov Pass Incident. This is the infamous case where 9 highly skilled Soviet hikers perished under circumstances that just seemed absolutely impossible, way out in the freezing northern Ural Mountains. Let's get right into it. An unknown, compelling natural force. Think about that phrase for a second. When the official Soviet investigation wrapped up in May of 1959, they just locked the files away in a secret archive and cited that exact, bizarre phrase as the cause of death. And, for well over 6 decades, that incredibly vague, classified conclusion has just fueled wild speculation, massive conspiracy theories, and, thankfully, some genuine scientific inquiry into what really went down on Dead Mountain. Okay, so let's start with the central, totally bewildering question that hooks literally everyone who studies this case. Why on earth would a group of hardened winter survivalists purposefully slash their only shelter open from the inside, abandon all their cold weather gear, and sprint down a pitch-black mountain in just their socks or bare feet into negative 40-degree temperatures? I mean, it defies all basic survival logic, right? Part 1. A doomed winter expedition. To make sense of this puzzle, we really have to establish how incredibly competent these victims were. These were definitely not reckless amateurs who just got in over their heads. Led by 23-year-old engineering student Igor Dyatlov, this was a highly disciplined team. We're talking tough university students and a 38-year-old World War II veteran. They were all grade 2 hikers, literally on the verge of receiving their highest grade 3 certifications. They were completely prepared for a grueling Category 3 winter expedition to Mount Oderten. Basically, they knew exactly what they were doing. Tracking this day by day, we can see exactly how the expedition played out. They headed out on January 23rd. By the 28th, one member, Yuri Yudin, had to turn back because of severe joint pain. And wow, talk about a stroke of luck. That made him the sole survivor of the entire group. Fast forward to February 1st. Heavy snowstorms caused them to veer slightly off course, and they made the fateful decision to pitch their tent on the exposed, wind-blasted slope of Kolatsyachu. Ominously enough, that name actually translates to Dead Mountain in the local indigenous language. Part 2. Grisly Forensic Anomalies. So, weeks passed, with no telegram from the group, which obviously triggered a massive search. When rescuers finally found the site, the way the bodies were scattered painted this incredibly vivid, just agonizing picture. Down at the tree line, about a mile from the tent, 2 men were found frozen in their underwear next to the ashes of a tiny fire. Then, spaced out on the slope leading back up to the tent, 3 more bodies were found in crawling postures. They were literally desperately trying to get back to camp. And finally, months later, under meters of snow in a ravine, the searchers found the last 4. But these 4 had catastrophic injuries and were actually wearing clothes cut from the bodies of the first 2 men. And the autopsies? Well, the autopsies performed back in 1959 by forensic pathologist Boris Vozrozhdeny revealed some genuinely bizarre anomalies. The victims in the ravine had their ribs and skulls completely crushed. He compared the force to a high-speed car crash. But here's the crazy part. There were 0 external wounds, no bruises, no scrapes, just massive internal trauma. Throw in some missing soft tissues like eyes and a tongue, trace amounts of elevated beta radiation on a few pieces of clothing, and this really weird orange-brown discoloration of the skin. I mean, no wonder investigators were sent into a total spiral. Now, before we jump into the wild conspiracy theories, we can actually use biology to explain at least one of those eerie details: why some victims fled into the freezing snow in just their underwear. Medical science recognizes a terrifying but very real phenomenon called paradoxical undressing. In the final terminal stages of hypothermia, the body's failing blood vessels suddenly dilate, rushing warm blood right to the skin. So the freezing victim suddenly feels like they are literally burning up, which prompts them to deliriously strip off their clothes right there in the freezing cold. Part 3. Decades of wild theories. 75. Even with some solid medical explanations for things like the undressing, the sheer strangeness of the overall scene was just overwhelming. And human nature being what it is, we naturally rush to fill the gaps left by the intense Soviet secrecy of the Cold War era. Over the decades, more than 75 distinct theories have been proposed. We are talking the whole spectrum here, from highly rigorous meteorological studies to completely supernatural and even extraterrestrial hypotheses. The world simply couldn't let this mystery go. What's fascinating is how the most popular theories completely clash with each other. On one hand, you've got the infrasound theory, which suggests that the specific shape of the mountain generated these low-frequency sound waves that caused nausea and intense panic, driving the hikers out of the tent. On the other hand, there's the military weapons test theory. That one is super popular because it easily explains the orange lights reported in the sky by other hikers in the area and the rapid classification of the case files. But here is the major roadblock for both of them. Neither definitively explains the crushing, car crash-like physical injuries found during the autopsies of those victims in the ravine. We have to be really objective here. While theories of a Yeti, or attacks by local Mansi indigenous people, or shadowy gulag escapees totally captivate the imagination, the rigid physical evidence left at the scene systematically dismantles them. Look at the facts. There were absolutely zero outside footprints found in the snow, only the hikers' tracks. All their valuables, their food, their gear, it was all left totally untouched inside the tent. And while a KGB cover-up of a tragic accident does perfectly align with the paranoia of the era, there's just no direct evidence of a targeted assassination.
Part 4. The scientific resolution.
So the truth is, we don't actually need to rely on the paranormal or military death squads or secret weapons. In 2021, 2 researchers from EPFL and ET Zurich published an absolute game changer of a study in a Nature journal. By utilizing advanced simulations, they proposed a highly specific, localized event, a slab avalanche. Now, unlike a traditional avalanche of loose, powdery, tumbling snow, a slab avalanche is a cohesive, hard block of dense snow. It's almost like a sheet of ice that can break away even on really gradual slopes, and crucially, it often releases hours after the snowpack has been disturbed. Let's break down the exact step-by-step mechanics of this modern theory, because it makes so much sense. First, the hikers cut a ledge into the snowy slope to pitch their tent, which inadvertently weakened the snowpack above them. Second, hours pass as they sleep, leading to a delayed, silent structural failure in the snow. Third, a dense, super heavy block of snow breaks loose and slides right over the tent. This wasn't some massive mountain-wide avalanche. It was a small, incredibly heavy slab. It crushes the hikers who were trapped between the falling ice and their own hard skis lining the floor of the tent. That's what caused those massive car crash-like internal injuries without any external cuts. Finally, the terrified survivors slice their way out of the tent and enact a textbook emergency evacuation. Honestly, this reframing is absolutely brilliant. It completely changes how we view these victims. It transforms their seemingly rational, panicked flight into a highly organized, professional survival response. Think about it. They got out of the avalanche zone, left their gear behind because the tent was buried under a block of ice, helped their severely injured friends down the mountain, built a fire, and even dug a snow cave to survive. They weren't acting crazy. They were literally doing everything exactly right. They were just tragically outmatched by the extreme cold. Okay, but what about the remaining eerie details, right? The really weird stuff. Well, they neatly fall into place too. The missing eyes and tongue of the victims in the ravine, they were actually found face down in a running meltwater stream months later. That is just standard decomposition and aquatic scavenger activity. The strange orange skin, normal post-mortem freezing and sun exposure. The radiation? Well, one hiker, Krivonishenko, had previously worked cleaning up a massive disaster at the Mayak nuclear plant. The radiation was merely trace contamination left over on his old work clothes. Oh, and the glowing orange orbs in the sky? Declassified logs now show the Soviet Union was testing R-7 rockets in Baikonur at that exact time. The puzzle pieces just fit perfectly. As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a thought to chew on. Today we have peer-reviewed avalanche mechanics, forensic pathology, and declassified historical records that all align perfectly to explain the tragic fate of the Dyatlov group. Yet even when we are armed with these logical, rigorously tested answers, why does human nature still so desperately crave a supernatural mystery? Perhaps we just want to believe that the world is more fantastical than it really is. Or maybe, just maybe, it's our own way of ensuring that these 9 courageous hikers are never forgotten. Thanks for exploring this fascinating case with me today. Keep asking questions, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.